Ladies and gentlemen, it's officially over.
The Brazilian rain, the Dutchman has delivered a defining drive. Max Verstappen wins the Sao Paulo Grand Prix.
Max pulled off one of the greatest drives ever. From 17th this time, bruh. This guy is legitimately a threat from anywhere on the court, the track. Bro has now become the only driver to win from 10 different grid positions. How greedy. After seeing everything that happened in the sprint race and qualifying, I was actually slightly hopeful the championship would still be alive. Norris starting on pole, Max starting all the way back there? Surely there's not a single way McLaren fumbles this. It's not even funny at this point. Their ability to throw away prime opportunities to capitalize on their rivals' misfortunes is just baffling. And I know they got unlucky with a red flag and all. In hindsight, they should have stayed out. But come on, man. This brother cooked you starting from almost dead last, and you man somehow also managed to finish 6th from pole. Anyway, let me hold off on McLaren and Norris for now. Verstappen deserves his flowers. This guy is a true champion. There's no doubt about that. Because I won't lie, this was more than just a masterclass. This was a generational drive from a sensational driver. One of those races people will look back on in a few years and go, yeah, that's why Max Verstappen is one of the greatest F1 drivers to ever walk the earth. Like Senna at Donington in 1993, Schumacher in Spain in 96, Hamilton at Silverstone in 2008, Vettel at Monza the same year. And in terms of lowest starting positions to win a race from, this is the first time since Kimi Raikkonen in Japan 2005 that someone has gone from 17th to 1st. It just looked so unfair, man. Like, how are you embarrassing other people like this? The only dude who could even remotely rock with him was Charles. I'm not letting that defending go unnoticed, by the way. But even then, he made a few mistakes here and there. Verstappen made literally zero. None. Nada. Zilch. How is anyone supposed to compete with that pace combined with absolute perfection? You know what? I blame the stewards, man. You wanna know why? Because these lot have been moving mad lately. First, they give him community service for swearing. Then, Charles swears and they only give him a fine. That's strike one. Then, there's the whole sprint race fiasco, which if you're not familiar with already, let me give you the rundown. Hulkenberg has a car issue and has to stop by the side of the track. Then, they wait around a lap to allow the McLarens to do the swap. Then, as soon as Max is about to pass Oscar, the VSC comes out. And finally, as soon as it's the last lap and at the end of the last overtaking opportunity, the VSC ends and McLaren secure the 1-2. I'ma just let Dr. Umar say it because you don't find that suspicious. And at this point, Max's head was getting hotter and hotter. This was strike 2. But this was only a measly little sprint race that made like a 3-point difference to his lead. It ain't that deep, brother. Knowing Max though, I can just see he's taking note of all these things and going, I will remember that for next time. He's the type of guy that uses all that BS as fuel. And then, the final nail in the coffin for everyone was the actual qualifying session. When Stroll crashed and I saw how long it took for the red flag to come out, once again, I was looking out the side of my eye. The way all the other red flags were called instantly, but this one took ages. But. Literally 1 second after the yellow flag came out, Leclerc knocked Verstappen out of the top 10. So this was more of just bad luck than anything else. The amount of time they waited for people to finish their laps wouldn't have made a difference, since Charles set his lap pretty much as soon as they threw out the double waved yellows. But again, knowing Max, I could feel the crash out coming from a mile away. And if it wasn't clear by now, this man's head was on Jupiter. It doesn't matter if he would have been out anyway. He felt he'd been hard done by. And if that's the case, you better watch out, man. This is like waking up a sleeping lion, man. You're literally asking to get cooked. And even before the weekend started, they were still asking him questions about Mexico. Lando said, you need to change the way you drive. And this man just put up the 3 fingers. Oh man, he really pulled the Jose Mourinho, the Klay Thompson, dare I say the... Now wait, actually thinking about it, this is exactly what CR7 did to Atletico Madrid in 2019. Got hit with a setback, told everyone I'm him, watch this, and solo carried his team to victory. The same way Ronaldo is Atletico's nightmare, Verstappen is McLaren's nightmare. And it's been a long time since I've seen Max this emotional after a win. It was refreshing to see. He must have gotten so numb to the feeling of winning that his celebrations became a bit boring and samey. Like Drake's music, for example. But this was the one. And like many others in the F1 community, I have my opinions on the guy. I am by no means a fan of his. I can be critical of his tactics in World Tour racing. I've never said he needed to change anything because I understand he needs to do whatever it takes to win. Just the stewards need to enforce the rules better. But all that is old news now. There's absolutely no way anybody can deny that he's one of the GOATs in F1. After this 4th championship, which is pretty much a formality at this point, Max's legend status will be firmly secured. As Thanos said in his opener to Infinity War,
dread it, run from it, destiny arrives all the same.
This level of inevitability needs to be studied. What else needs to be studied, I hear you ask? And that's Lewis's qualifying form, because I can't believe Unc was getting cooked this bad. Both him and Alonso were having rough weekends. Shout out to Fernando though. The crash in Q3 wasn't ideal, but not surprising, considering this car might as well be called the Aston Martin. The car was bouncing around the whole lap, his back was getting absolutely destroyed, but he decided to soldier on for the mechanics who worked hard to get the car back together for the race. And this dude was on the verge of tears as well, bruh. I really hope one day we get to witness win number 33. Honestly, Fernando deserves it. Same can't be said for Lance Stroll though, who... You know what? I'm gonna just let you see for yourself.
Strange, I thought the race was kind of really long, and then there was some passenger from there, so I never felt that car, so...
I prefer really not to speak. If I speak, I am in big trouble.
Coming back to Lewis though, honestly, I couldn't give a toss what was happening in his race. I was literally just using laughter as a coping mechanism. Things could not have gone any worse. This is one of those moments when you realize your childhood is just a memory. It's never been real. On a real though, it looked like him and Russell were driving completely different cars. Well, I mean, they quite literally were actually. Going into the weekend, Mercedes decided to experiment with two different packages. George's was decent, it actually looked drivable, whereas Lewis's was... yeah.
Oh no. Anyway,
Ferrari next year, here we come. And I know, we gotta talk about this. The only thing I was really looking forward to all weekend was him driving Senna's car. Now, if you've even remotely followed Lewis's career, you'd know that there's no bigger fan of Ayrton than him. And those laps of honor was straight up spine tingling. Driving his championship winning McLaren from 1990, car number 27. And interestingly, 27 years on from this iconic interview from when he was a kid.
My car feels really powerful when I'm in it, but imagine being in the Formula 1 car. Must be very powerful.
It really was written in the stars, man. Dude went from simply wanting to make Ayrton proud to honouring his legacy in the most beautiful way possible. And the sound of that McLaren, man, oh, why can't they just let him drive that for the Grand Prix? At least it would have been a more pleasurable experience than driving a car that's bipolar. George was actually doing superbly well. Almost took pole away from Norris, snatched his chain at the start, then controlled the race beautifully until Mercedes called him in. Had they not done that, could they have won the race? Maybe, maybe not. I still think Verstappen's speed was on another planet, so it would have been tough. But at least he would have maintained track position, which proved to be crucial. We only really saw the full extent of Max's pace once he went into the lead. There was a point where he got bottled up behind Charles, who by the way drove phenomenally well in that Ferrari. Only sad thing now is that he's officially out of championship contention. Qualifying went about as well as he could have asked. And real quick, let's touch on Sainz. He said it's his day off after showing us a masterclass in Mexico. In fact, I doubt we'll get a drive as serious as that from the Spaniard for the rest of the season. Man really put it in the wall twice. But the pace just wasn't there for Ferrari in the wet. And of course, they brought Leclerc in too early and lost track position to everyone. However, I won't stop talking about the defensive masterclass from him. Even Max was like,
here I just got stuck because Charles is actually quite decent.
Now I don't know if that was a sneak diss to a certain someone or a certain team, but here we go again with McLaren fumbling the bag. Now, to be fair, they got a bit unlucky with the timing of the red flag, but at the end of the day, that's sometimes the way it goes. Also, at that point in the race with the heavy rain and everything, it was kinda obvious that someone at some point would slip up and cause a red flag. Trying to stay out and brave the conditions was the best possible option for anyone. And once again, if Norris gets a good start, all this probably doesn't happen, and not been bottled up behind George for ages. He could have built a gap like he did in Singapore and made life easier for himself. But I don't do if, buts and maybes, I do absolutes. Max started 17th. You were on pole. There should be no excuses. And now that he's pretty much out of contention, can we just let Oscar race now? No more team orders, man. It's Jova. Piastri really had me in stitches during sprint qualifying, man. He spent every single lap dogging around being like half a second slower than his teammate, only to show his true hand right at the end. What a guy, man. They also gave my boy the mugshot graphic as well after he caused a collision. But anyways, hopefully these next 3 races they can allow him to compete. Lando was supposed to be investigated for the start infringement, and they made us wait like 5 hours only to give him a small fine. Same with Mercedes, they only got a small tap on the wrist for their tyre pressures. Honestly, all these subjective decisions and penalties being made by the stewards for the sake of entertainment is getting tiring to talk about, so I'm just gonna move on. The 2 Alpines, that double podium really hit different. It's crazy how these guys kinda ruined my prediction for Haas in one race. I said Haas will finish ahead of VCARB come the end of the season, which they're currently on course to achieve. But I kinda meant that they'd be the ones finishing P6 and not Alpine, who for the majority of this season have been scraping the bottom of the barrel for points. This was a real feel-good story though. Gasly has been knocking on the door of a big result on many occasions. Ocon has also been very strong from time to time. But this weekend, everything just fell into place perfectly. How Gasly catapulted from 13th to finish 3rd was just amazing. Ocon's qualifying was immaculate and so was his race pace. I really thought at some point in time as well that he might even win. That first safety car getaway was perfect. For the second one, I knew Max wasn't going to get caught napping twice in a row. But still, while everybody else was setting their alarms for 4:30 AM, this man got the 1 extra minute of sleep he needed to clutch a whopping £50 million extra bonus money for the team. Him and Gasly for once weren't trying to take each other out and managed to work like a dynamic duo. As for the Haas guys, Hülkenberg got disqualified for receiving assistance from the marshals. His teammate did decent, but lacked a lot of experience in these conditions. Perez didn't score a point. Valtteri should have scored points. I don't care what anybody says. He was the real victim of that extended yellow flag in qualifying. He was in the top 10 and then dropped out because of that 40-second delay to call out the red. Albon was cooking up a masterpiece, but then he binned it and couldn't even start. Colapinto crashed twice like Sainz. And seeing all of these incidents, I'm not just thinking about how much this is going to cost, but also feeling bad for the mechanics who actually have to fix it all. You gotta be joking, I ain't doing all that. My boy Yuki though, he was on fire. P7 finish to go along with a top 3 start. And look at my boy in Park Ferme, he really said, can't believe this is my life, just smiling through it all. Lawson added a couple extra points to V-Cup's tally in P9. Who else have I not talked about? Oh yeah, Zhou. Yeah, he was last again, but consistency is key. If there's anything I can appreciate a lot about a sports person, no matter who they are and what I think of them, is how they respond when their back is up against the wall. When a big performance is needed from them the most, they show up in an emphatic way. And it's always the all-time greats that have this ability. Going beyond Formula 1 and into other sports, seeing the likes of Rafa, Roger, or Novak pull themselves out of situations during a Grand Slam final I didn't even know were possible. Seeing Mbappe almost single-handedly win the World Cup for France in 2022. Coming back to F1 though, we know Max has done some questionable things in the past. However, what we witnessed yesterday was nothing short of incredible. No mistakes, just clinical overtakes. And once he reached the front of the field, he then dunked 20 seconds on everyone just for old time's sake. A lot didn't go his way this weekend, and as much as he was upset about it, it only made him stronger, faster, and more motivated than ever to showcase the immense talent he possesses. In case anybody forgot, that drive reminded everyone why he's still the best driver in the sport right now. And yes, regardless of who you support, nobody can deny Max of that title right now. There was a period where I thought Charles was the best driver on the grid. I also still believe a rejuvenated Lewis can give the dude a run for his money. But without question, Max Verstappen is the best driver in the world. This championship was never a contest. Norris just happened to be his closest challenger in second. Let's just give Max his title and then speedrun the winter break. I want to see 2025 so badly right now. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you're new to get my latest videos in the future. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.